Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Late night is off. CBS off. NBC Olympics. Jimmy Kimmel took the summer off. Trevor Noah took the summer off. Conan O'Brien retired, but at least he's tweeting. Conan tweeted, "Sure, streaming subscriptions are just as expensive as cable, but you gotta remember 18 different passwords." He added, "Hey, Los Angeles, while we're at it, let's just ban open-toed shoes indoors." Trevor Noah, he did tweet. He wrote, "Who can forget the Nancy Pelosi superfans marching from the Nancy Pelosi rally to install Nancy Pelosi as president?" I'll leave that there. From Uprocks, BJ Novak may forever be associated with The Office. He's Ryan the Temp. He's got a new show for FX on Hulu. It is called The Premise, which is described as a fearlessly ambitious new series that uses comedy to engage with the biggest issues of our unprecedented modern era. Now that's complicated. The elevator pitch is it's a comedy version of Black Mirror. Okay, now I can follow it. The Premise will tackle topics like police misconduct, gun control, and immigration, with BJ Novak writing or co-writing all 5 of the announced episodes. The summary for episode number 1, the title of that episode, Social Justice Sex Tape. The description, when a white, woke 20-something ally to social justice causes discovers video evidence of a disputed police incident in the background of his highly embarrassing sex tape, a savvy young lawyer and her mentor strategize how to best use the tape and witness to save an innocent man from prison. Damn, that's complicated. Now, I was into The Office from minute 1 because I like the UK version, and I quickly noticed that the funnier episodes, especially early in the series, had BJ Novak credits. So that description to me sounds really complicated, and I'm like, what did I even just read to y'all? But I'm going to watch this because it's BJ Novak. September 16th on Hulu. It is called The Premise. From Vulture, and I just recorded this as the opening to this week's weekly comedy thing. That's the weekly show I host on Live by Live. So here's a perfect example. The story I'm about to tell you, I also tell you on the weekly comedy thing, except on the weekly comedy thing, I can actually play a bit by Neal Brennan, who's got an upcoming off-Broadway show called Neal Brennan Unacceptable. It follows Neal Brennan as he meticulously examines his own defects, attempting to understand his baffling inability to fit in a group and the alienation that comes along with it. If you're in New York City, it's at the Cherry Lane Theater for 6 weeks starting August 25th. Promised you yesterday I would talk about Trevor Moore. You know Trevor from The Whitest Kids You Know, and he hosts the Comedy Central web series, The Trevor Moore Show. He spoke to Wisconsin Public Radio, and he said, "When I was a kid, I loved David Letterman." Me too, Trevor Moore. He was still on NBC, and I would set the VCR to record him because I wasn't allowed to stay up and watch it. I also set the VCR, Trevor Moore. I was allowed to stay up and watch it, but it came on at 12:30. And I used to say, boy, if David Letterman was ever on at 11:30, I'd watch it every night. And then David Letterman was on at 11:30, and I watched it for about a year. And then it wasn't as cool, right? It was establishment Letterman wearing proper suits with shoes. David Letterman doesn't wear shoes. He wears sneakers. I didn't like the CBS version as much as the NBC version. But Trevor Moore said, I'd watch the NBC version when I got home from school the next day. He later worked for NBC. He was a page in 2002, and he ended up with a recurring bit on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, sworn enemy of David Letterman. You traitor, he said. I was like a correspondent for them. So I had 2 different bits, and twice a month I would go out and do a man on the street kind of routine for them and stab Dave in the back, Trevor Moore. Ooh, I got a bleep on my phone. Leave it in. Trevor Moore grew up as the son of Christian rock singers. He said his conservative upbringing blocked a lot of comedy influences that many people are nostalgic for. Trevor Moore feels this helped him forge his own rebellious comedic voice. He said, listen to this, I couldn't watch He-Man because it had magic in it. I couldn't watch Smurfs because it had magic in it. And so there's a lot of stuff from my childhood that people are nostalgic for now that I've never seen. Like I saw Ghosbusters for the first time when I was like 35. Trevor added, I try not to be too pop culture based in comedy, and maybe that's a defensive mechanism. I definitely think that because everything was very conservative and had to be very clean, that pushes you in the other direction. Like The Whitest Kids You Know was constantly getting flack for being a very dirty, very kind of blue sketch show. And I think that's just kind of a natural teenage rebellion. He told a great story about the Whitest Kids You Know sketch he wrote and performed that was titled, It's Illegal to Say. In the sketch, Moore has wordplay fun with the United States law prohibiting threats against the president. Trevor called the ACLU and was like, hey, am I getting in trouble for this? Is this fine? Can I do this bit? And they're like, we can't advise on that kind of thing. But they did say, if you get in trouble, we would defend you. And I was like, well, okay, that's enough for me. So the twist came when a man who was harassing his ex-wife on Facebook posted the entire bit, replacing president with his ex-wife's name. That man was arrested on threats, but argued that a social media post isn't a threat because it was satire. That led to the 2015 Supreme Court case Alonis versus the U.S. That was the first to deal with freedom of speech in the social media realm. Trevor said, "The thing that makes me laugh is that all the Supreme Court justices had to sit and watch our dumb sketch show, and they ended up ruling that it was satire and it was comedy, and the guy couldn't get in trouble for the stuff. So I don't think it's a good outcome or a bad outcome, but that's what happened." All right, all week the podcast has been a weird mix of actual comedy news and George Lopez tacos. Today's no different. Just for laughs, the Montreal Comedy Festival. Been telling you all week about new faces. Today, let's look at new faces characters. Andrew Knox, an actor, writer, improviser, comedian, and multi-hyphenate. I went over this yesterday. Everybody's an actor, writer, comedian. Just be a comedian, man. He wrote and performed in 4 original reviews on the Second City's main stage and ETC stage in Chicago. He can be seen on Sci-Fi's The Movie Show, NBC Chicago PD, and Topics, The Last Show Left on Earth. All right, pretty cool resume there. Aristotle Thrias is a Middle Eastern American comedian, actor, writer, director, and podcaster based in LA. Starting after getting his start in stand-up comedy, he began writing and directing sketches with future collaborators Hassan Minhaj, Asif Ali, and Fahim Anwar to form Goatface, the first and only sketch comedy show on Comedy Central to feature an all-Muslim American cast to date. In 2019, he was on Silicon Valley. Next up, Corinne Wells, ready? Actor, writer, and comedian. Stop, everybody, just stop. She's a writer for Peacock's The Amber Ruffin Show and currently does voices on Stephen Colbert Presents Tuning Out the News. Forgot that existed. She's the co-founder of the Squirrel Comedy Theater. You can just tell already this show's going to be a lot of fun. New Faces Sketches is pretty cool. Elena Skopatos is a Brooklyn-based comedian, actress, and writer. She's an alum of UCB's Characters Welcome and Magnet Theater's Character Bash. She's done a one-woman show, and she's a New York Times Critics Pick. Joseph Limas is a black queer comedian, improviser, content creator, director, and performing artist based in Brooklyn. He can be found in the upcoming season of Comedy Central's Aquafina is Nora from Queens. Kate Owens is, you got your bingo card out, an actor, comedian, an award-winning clown. You didn't have clown. You didn't know I was going to say clown. You did not know I was going to say clown. I caught you. Known for her fearless commitment to characters and audacious physical comedy, Kate Owens has a critically acclaimed solo show. It's called Cooking with Catherine. It won the Best Physical Comedy at Frigid Fest and the Critics' Choice at Port Fringe Fest. We are deep into comedy festivals, and we're talking about Frigid Fest and Port Fringe Fest. Next up, Patty Guggenheim. All right, bingo card again. Actress, comedian, writer, yes, and starred in Pop's Florida Girls. She had a recurring role on ABC's Splitting Up Together, and MTV's Mary Plus Jane. Was also featured on Curb Your Enthusiasm, Superstore, and Modern Family. Vinnie Thomas is a delightful comedian and armchair naturalist based in Chicago. Interesting description there. He was formerly a member of Second City's house improv ensemble Twisty. This summer, he joined the iconic staff of NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me as a guest writer. Woody Fu, great name, an actor-creator out of New York. He has appeared on Comedy Central, CBS, FX, and the ABC Discovers 2020 Actor Showcase. All right, there he was a cast member of Boom Chicago in Amsterdam and also starred as Jon Snow in Thrones, the musical parody at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. That sounds like a good time. Those are your new faces, characters. So right after I finished recording a whole bunch of Bob's Burgers conspiracy stuff, again, 2 quick questions. Have you ever seen Bob's Burgers? No. Have you ever no? All right, so they announced a launch date for Bob's Burgers. It's like they're reacting to me. Fox claims that on September 26th, they will air The Simpsons at 8 o'clock right after a football game. I'm sure they will. Then The Great North. Then at 9 p.m., when you're all over on NBC and it's probably like Tom Brady versus the Patriots, I think it actually is, Season 12 of Bob's Burgers will allegedly premiere. Not that anyone's going to watch Tom Brady versus the Patriots. Everyone's going to be watching Bob's Burgers, which really is a show that actually airs on television, right? Today's Daily Comedy News is brought to you by Palace Intrigue. That's the podcast about the royal family that I am the head writer for. What we do over there, honestly, lately, we just dump on Prince Harry. Harry, you're being a jerk, man. Stop writing books. Your grandma's 95. Stop writing books. Harry's writing more books. Now he's writing 4 books. And one of the books, according to the deal, isn't going to come out until Grandma passes away. So basically, you're going to bash the queen once she's dead? Don't do that, man. How much money do you need? Anyway, it's called Palace Intrigue, a short-form podcast, kind of like this one. Not much comedy and a lot more royals. Palace Intrigue, wherever you get your shows. MAShed spoke to George Lopez about George Lopez tacos. I'm obsessed this week. I can't help it. They asked, what's George Lopez tacos must-try item? George Lopez said, I like the steak and I love the cilantro. I love the little onions and the sauces on top. I like the double tortilla. I mean, when you grow up poor, you don't have the option. But as I got older, I started to realize in Tijuana in the 80s, when you started to see them use 2 tortillas, I'm like, wow, that's a big deal when you're used to only seeing 1 tortilla. And then somebody hands you one in a nice little paper and it's got 2. And it's just got the perfect seasoning and the amount of meat. Just 1 bite, and I got you. What's the difference between George Lopez tacos and other taco places? Well, it's George Lopez tested, George Lopez approved. I think when you started to see urgent cares pop up and you thought, wow, urgent care, why wouldn't somebody go to the hospital? And now urgent cares are everywhere. Now Next Bite and small businesses are the places you can get the things that you want in a timely manner, so you're not bogged down by a big place. So what George is saying is George Lopez Tacos is the urgent care of tacos. You don't want to go to like that big tacos chain that's like the big hospital. That's like a hassle. You want to go to the urgent care for tacos, which of course is George Lopez Tacos. George tells us all the food is cooked fresh, sealed up, driven to you. Then you put it out on the table and people make a taco as you wish. It's like when you have a kit or you have a Mustang. Then they buy you the kit and all of a sudden you have a regular Mustang, but now the kit has the flair on the back. It's got a different kind of knob. It's got the things that shoot out the sides. We're giving you the taco. Now we're giving you the kit to accelerate your taco making and taco enjoying skills. Again, you might have a Mustang, but a George Lopez taco is a fancy Mustang with flames coming out the sides. You feel me? From the New York Times, as the contingent of Olympic athletes from Italy entered Tokyo's Olympic Stadium for the Parade of Nations last Friday, a South Korean broadcaster aired a photo of a pizza. For Norway, they showed a piece of salmon. For Ukraine, they showed Chernobyl. The images drew criticism from viewers who said they were offensive or had perpetuated stereotypes. The Korean broadcaster soon apologized for its choice of inappropriate photos. You know, it's a good thing they don't listen to the podcast, and then did something for Mexico. That's your comedy news for today. Follow this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. See you tomorrow with more George Lopez Tacos.